Welcome back to another episode of Italics. Today we're going to be talking about the concept city idea created by Walt Disney back in the 1960s. In October of 1966, Walt Disney sat down and filmed a video all about EPCOT, this concept city of the future. EPCOT stands for the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. Now, the EPCOT of today is a far cry from what it was originally intended to be. Today, you can go and visit a couple of different cultures, or at least the Disneyfied version of different cultures, in a sort of amusement park, a place that is fun to enjoy dinners and go shopping and watch some street performers, all within that little Disney bubble. But we'll touch on what EPCOT is today a little later. What I want to talk about is actually what it was intended to be. The Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow was meant to be the utopian place of living. It was going to set the standard for what cities could look like in America and across the world. This was prime civilization. This is what you would imagine something should look like when you think of a city. And compared to most American cities, it was very, very different. A general breakdown of the original EPCOT idea went something like this. The Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow was designed around the shape of a wheel. You have a hub in the center with all of the commerce and shopping and business happening there, and as you spread out, you get into more residential areas, the less dense parts of the city. So the main hub of EPCOT was meant to be the center of commerce and shopping. This is the place that you could go to have dinner, the place that you could go to buy your groceries, you could go out and watch a show at night. Essentially, this place is downtown, where you want to go to spend time when you're not at home. This is the core of EPCOT, and everything converges here. The unique concept of the main hub of the city is that this entire area would be covered. It would be climate controlled, indoors, and it would maintain the sense of a comfortable environment. Simply take every building and across all of the crosswalks, across all of the streets, just build a roof. There would be some viewing areas for light to come through. This was meant to be a controlled environment, something that Disneyland and Disney World were very well known for. Past that, you have community housing. This is high-density community housing, something like apartment complexes and condos. These were attached to that central core, so you'd easily be able to access both the commerce sections of EPCOT and the recreational sections that laid just outside of that large structure. Next up, the recreational areas with parks and smaller buildings. This was a place for people to come and relax, to do things in their spare time. And past that, you move into the spokes of EPCOT. This is the community housing where most families would live. Small cul-de-sacs and groups of houses that would allow people to live in homes, something a little bit larger than that high-density housing. And transportation is a must here. This was primarily the main concept behind EPCOT. Transportation in EPCOT is actually 3 levels deep. Literally, it digs below the surface of the earth. Everything above ground was designed for people in mind. Bicycles, electric carts, people walking, that's what it was designed for above ground. Down from the first level, you have access to the main monorail. This allows access to both the Disney parks and the industrial complexes. It's an easy way to leave this area. Below that is where cars could drive when an individual just wanted to leave town for the weekend. And the third level down, you have trucking. This is where most of that bulk format would come throughout the city. Transit here was designed to be essential, and it was also designed to be very out of the way. Not only that, but the spokes of the wheel had something called people movers, which is a format of roller coaster, essentially, just an easy way for people to ride from place to place. Nothing exciting, just something very straightforward. But the whole concept behind people movers is that they're never ending. You get on and you get off. It's a very seamlessly integrated platform that doesn't stop. You're never going to be late for a train, and you'll never miss the train. You just hop on and hop off. Now, the concept of EPCOT is a crazy one, but it's not entirely unrealistic. It's just a very challenging, ambitious project to take on. And Walt Disney had seen a lot of pushback from every single one of his projects before then. In his mind, he said, "This is where I want to go from here on out." And he pursued that idea as best he could. But he also realized that this would be a project a little bigger than himself. So as Walt started pursuing this idea, he had the idea of an industrial complex that would pair everything together. Manufacturers could design products and goods right within this area. And then if they wanted to test with actual users, they could send it to the people living in EPCOT. This was a great way of user testing, at least at that point in time before the internet digitized everything. The idea of EPCOT is pretty dated now. It's not peak future, it's 60 years ago future, and it's still very intriguing to look at this and say, man, something like this would genuinely be better, at least in terms of a regular city format. It makes you think about what the future could be. And I'm not just saying what the future could have been, but I'm saying what the future could be today. One of the biggest things that I've noticed from Walt Disney and from other people that inspire me, aside from personal lives, the thing that I like the most is that they are determined to pursue something that they think would make the world a better place. They care about other people and they're inspired to make changes that they think would genuinely make other people better off. Now, I love that idea. I love looking at EPCOT and saying, I want this, or at least parts of it. How can I take these ideas and move that forward into my future, into our future? How can we implement EPCOT today? And actually, that's what the current EPCOT was designed to do. Unfortunately, we didn't reach the ultimate EPCOT concept, but what we did reach, the EPCOT that exists within Disney World today, is something that was meant to inspire people. As people come into the park and they look around, they see a bunch of different cultures mixing together and working together in a way that, well, sure, maybe couldn't exist in reality, but also is very inspiring. It shows us what a future could look like. And as people travel from all over the world to come visit Disney World, when they leave and they head back home, they see something that maybe they could change. They could push their world into that EPCOT future, just in a little way. It's impossible to gauge how much of an impact EPCOT has had on the world, but I'd hazard a bet that it's definitely more than zero. I think there are a lot of people that have seen what EPCOT could have been, or even what EPCOT is today, and they take that and they store it, and they think and process. It makes them consider what everything could be like if the world was just a little bit better. Thanks a lot for watching this episode of Italics. I love retrofuturism content, so expect more of that here soon. My concept series is all about my ideas for the future, and my Italics series is all about other people's ideas for the future. It's really exciting, and I'd love to have you along on the journey. Subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you next time.